The scorching desert sun beat mercilessly against the ancient sandstone ruins of Petra's lesser-known sister city, where few tourists dared to venture. Liam Ashford adjusted his wide-brimmed hat as he surveyed the archaeological site, his experienced eye cataloging the potential treasures hidden within these forgotten walls. As one of the world's most successful antiquities dealers, he had traveled to this remote location to acquire a collection of rare artifacts from a local dealer who had mysteriously vanished. The silence was broken only by the whisper of wind, through crumbling archways when something caught his attention, a glint of gold among the weathered stones. Moving closer, Liam's breath caught in his throat. There, partially buried in the golden sand, lay a woman whose beauty seemed to belong to the ancient world itself. Emma's sun-kissed skin bore the telltale signs of exposure, her lips cracked from dehydration, yet even in her unconscious state, there was something magnificent about her. Her long, light brown hair cascaded across the sand like liquid bronze, and despite the grime and exhaustion etched on her face, her features were striking, high cheekbones, full lips, and when her eyes fluttered open for a brief moment, the most piercing green gaze he had ever encountered. She wore what had once been an elaborate gold bikini-like outfit, now tattered and dulled by sand and hardship. Golden bangles adorned her wrists, and a chain necklace lay tangled around her throat, jewelry that spoke of wealth and status, yet here she was, abandoned in the desert like discarded treasure. Liam immediately knelt beside her, checking for signs of life. Her pulse was weak but steady. Without hesitation, he gathered her into his arms, surprised by how light she felt, as if the desert had stolen not just her strength, but her very substance. His satellite phone connected him to his private helicopter pilot, and within minutes, the rhythmic thrum of rotor blades echoed off the ancient walls. During the flight to his luxury compound on the outskirts of the city, Emma drifted in and out of consciousness. When lucid, her green eyes would fix on him with a mixture of wariness and something that might have been gratitude. Though she seemed to fight against showing any vulnerability, she spoke little, just whispered water in a voice like desert, wind. But Liam caught glimpses of an accent that suggested education and refinement. His compound was an oasis of modern luxury nestled within traditional architecture. Air-conditioned rooms with marble floors, floor-to-ceiling windows that looked out onto manicured gardens fed by underground springs, and every amenity money could provide. Liam's staff, accustomed to his occasional humanitarian impulses, prepared the guest wing without question. The private doctor Liam summoned confirmed severe dehydration and malnutrition, but no permanent damage. "She's been through hell," the physician observed quietly, noting scars that suggested a violent past. "But she's a fighter. Her body shows the resilience of someone who refuses to give up." As Emma's strength returned over the following days, her personality emerged like dawn, breaking over the desert. She was fiercely independent, accepting his help with visible reluctance, as if charity wounded her pride. When Liam brought her new clothes to replace her tattered golden outfit, she examined them with the eye of someone who once knew luxury, intimately. "Why are you helping me?" she asked on the third evening, sitting on the terrace as the sun painted the sky in shades of amber and rose. She wore a simple white dress that somehow made her look regal, her hair now clean and shining, her skin glowing with returning health. Liam considered his answer carefully. There was something about this woman, an aura of tragedy mixed with unbreakable strength that had captured his imagination. "Maybe because I recognize something in you," he said finally. "Someone who doesn't belong in that desert, who deserves better than whatever brought you there." Emma's laugh was bitter. "You don't know what I've done, what I've been." "I know what I see," Liam replied, meeting her piercing gaze. "A woman who survived something that would have broken most people. That tells me more about who you are than any story you might tell." For the first time since he'd found her, Emma's expression softened, though wariness still flickered in her eyes like candlelight in wind. She nodded slowly, and Liam sensed he had passed some invisible test. The foundation of trust was laid, fragile but real, beneath the desert stars. The next weeks unfolded like the careful restoration of a damaged masterpiece. Emma's physical healing progressed rapidly under Liam's care, but her emotional wounds proved deeper and more complex. She moved through his compound with the grace of someone accustomed to luxury, yet always with the alertness of a survivor expecting danger. It was during a quiet evening in his study, surrounded by ancient artifacts and leather-bound books, that Emma finally began to share her story. She stood before a display case containing a golden Egyptian collar, her reflection ghost-like in the glass. "I wasn't always a desert refugee," she began, her voice steady but distant. "3 years ago, I was Emma Castillo, heir to one of Mexico's largest jewelry empires. My family dealt in rare gems and ancient gold, much like your antiquities business." Her fingers traced the glass absently. "I trusted the wrong people. My business partner, my fiancé, even members of my own family. They orchestrated my downfall so perfectly I didn't see it coming until I'd lost everything." Liam listened without interruption as she detailed the betrayal: forged documents, false accusations of theft, frozen assets, and a criminal case built on manufactured evidence. Her own family had turned against her, choosing money over blood. She'd fled Mexico with nothing but the jewelry she wore, eventually making her way across continents, selling pieces bit by bit to survive. "The desert was supposed to be temporary," she continued, finally turning to face him. "I had contacts there, people who promised to help me disappear completely, start over with a new identity. Instead, they took everything I had left and abandoned me." Her smile was sharp as broken glass. "Ironic, isn't it? The gold that once symbolized my family's power became the only thing that kept me alive, piece by piece, until there was almost nothing left." Liam felt anger burning in his chest, not at Emma, but at the cruel chain of betrayals that had brought her to that desert floor. "You could have died out there." "Part of me wanted to," she admitted quietly. "But I'm too stubborn to give them that satisfaction." From that night forward, their relationship shifted. Liam involved Emma in his work, initially thinking it might distract her from dark memories, but quickly discovering she possessed an exceptional eye for authenticity and historical significance. Her knowledge of precious metals and ancient crafting techniques rivaled his own, and her intuitive understanding of an artifact's origins often proved uncannily accurate. Working side by side in his private workshop, carefully cataloging and authenticating pieces, they developed an easy partnership. Emma's confidence grew daily as she realized her expertise was valuable, that she could contribute rather than simply receive charity. Liam watched with growing admiration as the broken woman he'd found transformed into someone formidable, intelligent, insightful, and possessed of a quiet strength that had survived the worst humanity could inflict. Their conversations deepened beyond work. Emma spoke of her dreams before everything fell apart, of building ethical businesses that honored ancient cultures rather than exploiting them, of using wealth as a tool for justice rather than mere accumulation. Liam found himself sharing his own struggles with the moral complexities of his trade, the fine line between preservation and appropriation. One evening, as they worked late by lamplight examining a collection of pre-Columbian gold pieces, Emma suddenly looked up from her magnifying glass. "You know, I thought I understood betrayal," she said thoughtfully. "But what you've shown me, this kindness without expectation, it's more foreign to me than any ancient language." Liam met her gaze across the table. The woman before him bore little resemblance to the broken figure he'd found in the desert. Her hair caught the golden light as it cascaded over her shoulders. Her skin glowed with health, and those piercing green eyes now held warmth instead of mere wariness. More than physical transformation, though, he could see the return of her inner fire, the spirit that had kept her alive through unimaginable hardship. "Maybe that's the problem," he said softly. "You've forgotten what you deserve." Emma's breath caught. For a moment, the workshop fell silent, except for the whisper of night wind through the windows. Then she smiled, not bitter or guarded, but genuine and radiant. It was the first time Liam had seen her truly happy, and the sight hit him like a physical blow. He was falling in love with her, he realized. Not with her beauty, though she was stunning, not with her tragic story, though it moved him deeply, but with her. Her intelligence, her resilience, her slowly emerging joy in simple pleasures. She wasn't a project to be saved, but a partner to be cherished, an equal whose strength complemented his own. As if reading his thoughts, Emma reached across the table, her fingers brushing his. The touch was electric, charged with possibility and promise. The foundation of trust they'd built was ready to support something deeper, something that could transform them both. 6 months had passed since Liam found Emma in the desert, and she had become the beating heart of not just his home, but his entire world. The morning sun streamed through the floor-to-ceiling windows of their shared workspace, illuminating Emma. As she examined a newly acquired Byzantine crown, her expert fingers tracing the intricate goldwork with reverence, she was magnificent. Her sun-kissed skin glowed with health and confidence, her long, light brown hair flowing like liquid silk over shoulders now adorned with carefully chosen gold jewelry, pieces Liam had commissioned specifically for her, each one a testament to her strength and beauty. The shimmering gold bangles on her wrists caught the light as she worked, and the delicate chain around her throat held a pendant he'd had crafted using gold from the very jewelry she'd worn when he found her, transformed into something new and beautiful, just as she had been. "This is extraordinary," Emma murmured, her piercing green eyes bright with intellectual excitement. "The craftsmanship suggests it belonged to Empress Irene herself. If we can authenticate the provenance—" She looked up at Liam with that radiant smile that never failed to steal his breath. "We could return it to the museum in Constantinople. Imagine the historical significance." Liam watched her with undisguised admiration. This was Emma at her most powerful, brilliant, passionate, and absolutely fearless in pursuing what was right. She had become not just his partner in business, but his equal in every way that mattered, her expertise and ethical compass guiding their growing empire toward justice and preservation rather than mere profit. Their success had been remarkable. Together, they had built a network that protected cultural artifacts while ensuring fair compensation for source countries and communities. Emma's personal mission to right historical wrongs had inspired a new model for their industry, one that other dealers were beginning to emulate. More importantly, they had succeeded in bringing justice to those who had destroyed Emma's previous life. Through careful investigation and leveraging Liam's extensive connections, they had exposed the conspiracy that had ruined her family's business. The satisfaction in Emma's eyes when her former fiancé and business partner were arrested had been beautiful to witness, not vindictive, but the quiet triumph of truth over deception. "There's something else I want to show you," Liam said, producing a small velvet box from his desk drawer. Emma's eyebrows rose in curiosity as he placed it before her. Inside lay not a ring, but a golden key, ornate, ancient-looking, yet clearly newly made. Emma lifted it carefully, feeling its weight, admiring the intricate engravings that seemed to tell a story of transformation and triumph. "What does it unlock?" she asked, though her eyes suggested she might already know. Liam stood and offered his hand. "Everything," he said simply. "Come with me." He led her through the compound to a door she'd never seen him open, using the golden key to reveal a workshop beyond anything she could have imagined. It was a space designed for creation rather than just preservation, equipped with every tool necessary for crafting jewelry and small artifacts, with workbenches positioned to catch the perfect light and storage for precious metals and gems. "This is yours," Liam said, watching her face transform with wonder. "Your own space to create, to build something new from everything you've learned. I know you've been sketching designs, dreaming of pieces that honor ancient traditions while celebrating survival and strength." Emma walked slowly through the space, her fingers trailing over the pristine equipment, her mind already racing with possibilities. When she turned back to face him, tears sparkled in her eyes like diamonds. "Liam, she began, but he stepped closer, taking her hands in his. "Emma Castillo," he said formally, and she laughed through her tears at the sound of her full name spoken with such reverence. "You are the most remarkable woman I've ever known. You've transformed from survivor to queen, not because I saved you, but because you refused to stay broken. You've made me a better man, a more ethical businessman, and shown me what true partnership looks like." He knelt then, not to propose marriage in the traditional sense, but to acknowledge what she had already become. "You are already the queen of my heart, my equal in all things. Will you let me be your king? Will you build an empire with me based on justice, beauty, and love?" Emma's answer was to pull him to his feet and kiss him with all the passion and fire that had kept her alive through her darkest hours. When they finally broke apart, she was radiant. No longer the broken woman from the desert, but a goddess in gold, powerful and magnificent. "Yes," she whispered, then louder, with the voice of someone who had reclaimed her kingdom. "Yes." As the desert sun set beyond their windows, painting everything in shades of gold that perfectly matched Emma's jewelry and the light in her eyes, they stood together as equals, not savior and saved, but partners who had found in each other the strength to build something beautiful from the ashes of the past. Emma had risen from filth to freedom, but more than that, she had discovered that sometimes losing everything is the only way to find out what you're truly worth. And she was worth a kingdom.